as the Honorable Louis Farrakhan said, to be a team in the service of God. So if the woman and the man are supposed to work together, why is it that there's so much conflict and disagreement between black men and black women? I will tell you this. It is quite liberal ideas, and ideas have crept into the discourse which are not workable ideas, which don't fit. So for example, if you have a flathead screw, a Phillips might not work, it might not fit. It might sound good, I'll get this screwdriver, unscrew the screw, but if it doesn't fit in the real world, you won't get anything done with it. The ideas that modern society have tried to ram down the black woman's throat are ideas that do not work when she interacts with the black man. They do not work in raising children. They do not work in having a successful family. These crazy ideas and crazy notions about family structure do not work for us. They are foreign and should be rejected. And a lot of the feminist white women that told you to stand up for yourself and all this other stuff. First of all, as Shahrazad Ali tried to tell you years ago, the feminist movement was never something that black people should have ever gotten involved in. Because you have never been oppressed by the black man, because the black man has not been in power to oppress you. Now, this is what I want to do. We sound like we got some reverb. But what I want to do, I want to break this thing down to you right quick. And Shahrazad Ali wrote a book years ago called The Black Man's Guide to Understanding the Black Woman. Now, recently, a very influential YouTuber by the name of Kevin Samuels died suddenly. And there was this significant vitriol that where people literally were dancing in the streets almost because Kevin Samuels died. Of course, there were a lot of women, to their credit, that didn't like the fact that people were celebrating the death of Kevin Samuels. Now, what is it that Kevin Samuels did that black women would be so hostile toward him? What lie did he tell? What families did he break up? Now, Biden, with his crime bill, broke up a bunch of black families. Kevin didn't do that. So why is the hostility with respect to brother Kevin Samuels? Now, I'm a follower of the Honorable Louis Farrakhan. I'm a follower of the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I'm not a follower of Kevin Samuels, but I appreciated his perspective. And here, and let me just say this, let me qualify this, because some of our sisters want to remain in a fantasy land as it relates to how to relate to a black man. And you must come out of the fantasy land so that we can get this thing together and build this black family for our future. We can't build a black family without you, and you can't build a black family without us. Our futures are inextricably tied together going forward. So we're bound. There's nothing we can do except try to work this thing out. But both sides, both the male and the female, must let go of false ideas in order for us to move forward. Now, many people had an issue with Kevin, and many people loved him. Mr. Samuels was very articulate, very intelligent, and I think at times he was a bit over the top, like with most people. I think you can be doing a little too much. But as an intelligent man, we got to look up underneath it at the substance of what was being said through the lens of cause and effect. Now, one of the things that people had a problem with was him saying that our sisters need to lose weight. He was saying that our sisters need to get rid of the bad attitude. Now, Shahrazad Ali, 30 years ago. Black Man's Guide to Understanding the Black Woman, over 30 years ago. What did she say? The black woman needs to be able to control her mouth. She is always talking down to the black man and will not allow the black man to have the peace he needs to have. And she even laid it out that a lot of times the black woman, through false programming, was assisting in stressing a brother out. Now, was that a fact or not? Is it a fact that you really, as a community, we're overweight? Yeah, it's a fact. So if somebody speaks the truth, then they spoke the truth. You might not like it, but as a mature human being, you got to accept the truth. Just like you got to accept that this integration experiment is not going to work between us and our open enemy. You got to accept the fact that it's not working. You got to accept the truth that some things work and some things don't work. And what Kevin was trying to do in an entertaining way, and he was also trying to make him some money, which he did a good job doing, but he told us the truth such that we could get a fair assessment of where we were and how things could work. That we had to think through and plan our life on how we were going to connect with a mate and move forward. And what did he say? He said success is based on weddings. He said marry before you carry. And when they called in, he said, well, hold on for a second. Are you married? And they well, no, I'm not married. Why didn't you marry your child's father? Well, he wasn't good enough for me, but he was good enough for you to have 2 babies with, but you didn't want to marry. That is a good question and a good line of questioning when somebody calls in bashing a man that they got 2 babies with. I mean, women might not have liked it, some women, but if you have an appreciation for truth and want things to get better, you got to take the bitter cup of truth, even when it bears witness against something you may be doing. He was talking about getting personal trainers for women to get that weight down so that they can be more attractive to their husbands. That makes sense. That's exactly what the enemy does. When his woman gets overweight, he hires a trainer sometime to come over to the house to get that weight off of her. You understand what I'm saying? So again, it's something that he said that was true. That was true. And is there a condescending spirit among some of our sisters? We just need to ask the question and be able to look ourselves in the mirror and say that. Now, why was there so much vitriol with respect to brother and brother dying and us celebrating that? That's a real sickness, because we can't even disagree with each other without being celebratory when somebody dies. Yet when all of these demons died, whether it be John McCain, George H.W. Bush, Ronald Reagan, Rush Limbaugh, who literally talked about, he literally was like black women are nothing. Sluts, all of them. If we're going to have a lawsuit, we need to see the tapes. He was on his radio show calling you nigger. On the radio. But you did not celebrate black women when he died. You didn't have the vitriol when racist Rush Limbaugh died, when racist George Bush died, when racist John McCain died. When all these racist demons died, I didn't see you on Twitter in joy because of the racist white man that died. See, we got to deal with the truth. Go ahead, call you on there with the community defender.
Yes, Brother Dale, this is a great topic. You're doing a wonderful job articulating all this situation that we're in between black man and woman. My biggest thing with about black women, I'm single, is that they are too manly. They are just too manly. They don't have it. They not feminine enough, and it's the attitude that the white man and woman conduit to keep perpetrating. It's just the attitude. I have so many black friends, male friends, that they just fully, gave up on the black woman, and they having children with white women, and average and below average white women, and it's terrible. The condition that the relationship between black man and woman is.
Well, can I interject this now? Let me just, if I can, good brother. I just want to interject this, and this is what I see, because I'm a black loyalist. I will never have a woman next to me that is not a black woman. That's not going to happen. So when I'm speaking as a person who is loyal to you as the black woman. I'm a person that's willing to die for you. But at the same time, I should be able to make a correction or a critique with the woman I love, with the woman I'm willing to die for, with the woman I've lived with all my life, with the woman I'm married to. I should be able to say something to critique a situation that I see that needs to be corrected, especially when I'm the one that loves you. And I believe that it was difficult for people to be able to take that critique. Now, let me say this. Some of the reason, it's not all, but some of the reason why brothers date white women, and I've seen brothers divorce a woman with a master's degree, where they were living in a 5-bedroom house, and go shack up with a white woman in a trailer park. Now, who was nowhere near as beautiful as what they had before. Now, some of that is white supremacy. We gotta admit that. Not all of it is the black woman's attitude. Some of it is and it was clearly in this situation, the only reason you could have thought she was better was because of her whiteness. Because on every level she was a 0. Okay? And I've seen this. And she was 350. Okay? So, and Kevin talked about, Mr. Samuels talked about the weight issue, probably more than Shahrazad Ali, but both of them talked about the attitude and the feeling, if you got a college degree, that you were somehow better than a black man who didn't have it. You understand?
The biggest thing, I'm not so much with the appearance, because I find that black women are very attractive. It's not the appearance. Mm-hmm. It's more so the attitude, the lack of femininity, the manliness. That's the biggest thing, because like for the black man, times is tough. It's tough for the black man, and the way the black woman treats the black man is terrible. And like I said, I have so many black friends, male friends, just say, you know what, I'm done with the black woman. I'm just he just went, just crossed the line. He crossed the color line. He's all in. He got my white woman. And that's the main reason why. So,
right. And I accept that. Look, I appreciate that. Like I said, I think that some of that, not all, but some of that is white supremacy, because one thing we've never given up on, and that's white people, no matter how bad they treat us. And I always say that to black men. No matter how bad the white man treats us, we always are interacting with him, trying to do business with him, trying to be employed by him. So let's be patient with the woman that God gave us. So I can understand some of it, but on the other hand, I think a lot of it is white supremacy. And again, I, as Brother Darrell Muhammad, I've made a decision as to what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna only, and I mean only, deal with a black woman. The woman that I wake up next to for the rest of my life will always be a black woman. That's a decision that I've made. My mama got me straight early. At 8 years old, my mama said, no, that ain't going down. And so I've been kind of conditioned all the way from back then to be on a certain page. And then when I joined the Nation of Islam and under the teaching of the Honorable Louis Farrakhan, all of that teaching was definitely reinforced from a spiritual and prophetic perspective, that a black woman is absolutely what I need, and that the two of us are in this thing together. So that's pretty much.
I want to say this real quick. But this welfare system is doing its end. It's because it creates that atmosphere where it makes the relationship between the black man and woman really bad, because they promote that with the black woman don't eat the black man. So Joe Biden's Democratic welfare system is doing its end, and I just want to say, Brother Darrell, just keep up the good work. This is a great topic.
Absolutely, and of course we actually should have touched on this topic earlier, and to a greater degree, because it's so very important. Because we've talked about black unity, but if the unity between the man and the woman is not there, then you really don't have black unity if you don't have the black family. So black unity has to be unity in that home between the two people who are married and love one another and committed to one another, as well as those children. And neither one of them should be condescending to the other. And that attitude of being condescending and pugnacious is pervasive in the black community among a lot of our sisters who have taken the Kool-Aid of white feminism. And Shahrazad Ali over 30 years ago tried to tell you, don't drink the Kool-Aid, because it's going to lead to lesbianism. It's going to lead to all of these other things. And she said they didn't tell you it was going to lead to all of this. And I'm going to say this. The Honorable Louis Farrakhan said in one of his lectures, he said, do not dog your man out. He said, because if you continue to dog your man out, you won't have anything. And you'll be a lesbian at home with yourself. This was 30 years ago when the Honorable Louis Farrakhan said that. And what do we see now? What do we see now? Women with tattoos on their forehead and taper haircuts, dressing like men, you understand, buying toys, no man with them at all. I'm just saying. That's what we see now. On my social media, and this is to illustrate how far apart we are. On my social media.
I couldn't pull it to the side.
Oh, it's all good. I'm gonna go ahead and read it. But this is on Brother Darrell's social media. And this is a good sister, but again, we disagree. And she says, when we were talking about and discussing Kevin Samuels and his platform, and it's really not, and Kevin Samuels even said it wasn't about him. Wasn't about him. It was about the principles. She says, I think a man has no place to speak on a black woman, period, unless you were one at one time. You are no different than the very people who dislike us because we exist. It's not that we don't like truth. It's how you deliver it with no actual insight. I wouldn't put down all black men. This is insane. Now, let me just say this. And a Muslim minister told me this years ago. He said, a lot of our sisters cannot take anything said to them that is not a compliment. I'm going to say it again. This may ruffle some feathers, but a lot of our sisters cannot handle anything said to them that is not a compliment. If we're not telling her how nice her hair is, if we're not telling her how smooth that bag is, if we're not telling her how nice that dress is, if we're telling her anything other than a compliment, all of a sudden she wants to say we hate her, or we hate black women because we have a critique about things going in the wrong direction in our community. When black women were saying there are too many of our young men selling drugs, we didn't get mad and say y'all hate black men. We say, you know, you're right. There's too many of our young men that's getting caught up in the drug trade and headed to prison. We acknowledge the truth that was being said. Too many of our men are unproductive. Yeah, we acknowledge, yeah, we need to get up off our butts, go to work and pay some bills and take care of these children. We understood when we were criticized that was good for us, for the most part. And we took the criticism of the woman, and we got up, many of us, and we began to work. We increased our income. We went out and got CDLs. We became licensed electricians. We became licensed plumbers so that we could have the skills to pay the bills. So we did that. Many of us heard our women, got up and went and tried to do something. Now, here's the thing. It starts off with what? I don't believe a man should tell a black woman anything. And that's really the source of a lot of the hatred for any critique. We are not allowed, though we pay the bills. They don't believe that we should tell them anything, period, unless we were once a black woman at one time. Now, how can that happen? See, that's going right over into a satanic way. And that's, see, if you were a black woman at one time, what's that? That's transgender. So the only one they'll listen to is a man that used to be a woman, but they won't listen to a man that is a man. I want you to think about that. Think about the satanic direction that the enemy is pushing our sister's mind, such that it becomes an unworkable thing in the home. They don't believe we should tell them anything. And this is an intelligent sister. This ain't no stupid sister on here. This is an intelligent sister who, I think a man has no place to speak on a black woman, period. Think about it. We can pay the bills. We can protect you. We can die for you. We can put our lives on the line for you. We can be there for you at the hospital. But we can't tell you anything. And it's that kind of attitude that's not going to work. We have to be able to talk to one another in love. Go ahead, Carly, you on there with the community defender.
Brother Gary, you hit home runs left and right, and you only pick one at a time. I wanted to say that I totally agree with the things that you were saying. However, I might be somewhat, I'm kind of sad that I might be somewhat guilty of some of that effect, but I just wanted to say that the murderer out in Boston that killed 10 people, did you see how that low-down dog did not have no bruises and he was able to walk in and everything, and not one cop tried to either kill him for what the destruction he done with killing that many people. I just had to say that, Brother Jarrett. And
I think it's a good observation. He was not told, get on the ground, get on the ground. None of that. None of that. If you move, I'll tase you. If you move, I'll tase you. If you don't put your hand, none of that. And it was the same with the El Paso shooter who was taken in without incident. The same with Dylan Roof. He was taken to Burger King. And so white guilty people are treated much better than black innocent people in America. That's just a fact, and it's a good observation that you made. And I'm going to say it again. White guilty people are treated much better in America than black innocent people. Okay? Let that go ahead and marinate for a minute. And you can call in. We need to end the gender wars. We need to be able to work together to accomplish our goals and objectives. And what is the reason for the condescending tone that a lot of us get as men? Another thing that Mr. Samuels brought up was the idea of being a step-parent. He called it a thankless job. And many people got upset. Well, if he want me, you're going to have to accept my children. He want me, you're going to have to accept my children. Well, we already know it's a package deal. But the question becomes, is it a good deal for the other party? See, it's like if I sell my house and I sell a $100,000 house for $500,000. Well, it'll be a good deal for me, but would it be a good deal for the person who's buying the house? Probably not. You understand? And so an attitude adjustment has to occur with that sister who may have made some mistakes. It's almost like if you made some mistakes in life and you got to put that down on your resume on the job market, you got to have a different attitude than somebody who's never done anything. Somebody who's done things in divine order. And so often we do things out of divine order, myself included, because I had an out of wedlock child. You understand? Which I should not have done. Looking at it in retrospect, I should have waited until I was married to impregnate somebody. Now, of course, this was years and years ago. Don't get me wrong. No time recent. But still, I got to confess my part in the condition, because even though I raised my children, even though we did a good job, even though my children are well adjusted and things turned out right, before I became conscious of who I am, did something I should not have done and contributed to that and created a single mother who did not necessarily want to be a single mother at that time. So I'm not putting it all on the sisters, because none of these sisters are getting pregnant without a man. We're not saying, we understand that. But when you come to the table with children, just understand that you're not entitled for somebody to father your children. If they father your children, that's a blessing, but it's not something you're entitled to. And you shouldn't have an attitude of, well, he's just gonna have to deal with us. Well, he will. He understands that. He understands that those children are permanently attached to you. But don't have an attitude of, this is what you got to do if you want to be with me. Like, I'm going to have to pay a higher price for the same thing. And then I'm going to have to, and brother said, I'm raising another man's, I'm contributing to someone else's legacy. And that was an issue that a lot of people had a problem with. Let's go ahead and call you on there with the community defender.
Hey, Brother Darryl.
How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, brother. It's a coincidence now, because I'm like, all week, me and Brother Darryl been having this conversation.
All week?
All week. But anyway, I want to tell you that I love you, and I respect.
Well, look, brother Reverend Brown, we both know we love each other. We both know we love black folks. And so I know you mean what you say, but you're just saying that to soften something else. So go ahead and come with it, brother Reverend. That's all you trying to do is ease on in there. So come on with the sledgehammer, bro. We ready for you.
I don't want to say that. You have a lot of respect, and also, you're a good mediator. The Bible says that Jesus will be a mediator between God and man. You're a good mediator. You know how to bring people together on a difficult subject. Many people cannot do that, honestly speaking, because you know how to get in there and speak truth to power without leaving full of hatred and people upset with each other. And I want to commend you for that. Okay?
Yes, sir.
You have thousands of people who have different views on Brother Samuel. The brother I think he's being memorialized today. And it would be disingenuous not to give that family that type of respect. So today, I'm just going to say this here, that we got to love each other. You said it just a while ago. Be very careful how you speak and what you speak, because a lot of people are angry right now. A lot of people are sad right now, and we all are family. One thing we got in common: we black, we family, and we love each other despite the disagreement. I love the Nation of Islam. And I was attacked by a brother from the nation, but you know what? I told the Brother Darryl, Marky and Ryan, Brother Willie, they know me, you don't. You don't know my track record, so you called out my name, but guess what? Brother Darryl doesn't know me, and guess what? I'm going to leave it to Allah, Because guess what? I know that Brother Darrell is a respectful man, and I appreciate you. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, good brother. Yes, indeed. So, yes, sir. Thank you, my brother. Yes, sir. Well, we got a call all the way from New Orleans, so I already know we got a hot topic here, and we're talking about gender wars, and we of course have been at odds with each other because I believe we have embraced false ideas of family that don't work, ideas of the family structure that don't work, and I believe that the enemy has had his part in injecting these crazy ideas into the heads of our women as well as the heads of our men. And so there's a lot of frustration, there's a lot of trauma in the black community, and we understand that. And it's very easy for men and women to turn on each other. But when you look at this television screen tonight, or whether it's on Facebook or YouTube, whoever looks at this, just know that you're looking at a black man that is committed to being with the black woman. My mother is a black woman. My grandmothers were black women. The person who taught me how to write my name, when I made my first D in the word Darrell, there was a black woman's hand guiding me to write that letter. And so a black woman has always been with me, and so I will never have anybody near me in the bed with me that is not a black woman. That's just what it is. Whether that counts or not, I'm a loyalist. I think we have to be loyal. That's just me. Now, the thing I'm gonna say is that we gotta look at this idea, and this is another area of it, the idea of blended families and how we work these issues out for the success of the community in the future. Because sometimes it's not about you, and it's not about the generation that we're in. Everything we do should have a positive bearing on the future of ourselves and our people. We should be futuristic in how we behave today. Because understand, today is built on yesterday and tomorrow is built on today. So what we do in this day is going to affect generations. And when our sister Shahrazad Ali brought up these topics, said that our sisters should be more respectful to the black man and should appreciate the black man, many people accuse her of being crazy. They accuse her of not having a man, which she's been married twice, never divorced. Both of them, she's been widowed twice. None of her husbands ever divorced her. She has mothered 12 children. And she wrote a book that many people disagree, but here is a person who knows what the heck she's talking about and who's coming from a spiritual knowledge base. We weren't able to take the critique from her. So then you weren't able to take it from her because I was there. And you weren't able to take it from Kevin. You're not able to take it from others. You got another social media influencer named Love Dorsey, who's some of this information. She's talked about the attitude of sisters and men not wanting to invest because they don't know the attitude is too volatile. People are talking about this, but there's not been a lot of action on making the proper corrections on these things, because we gotta work this thing out. And the black woman as well as the black man, we must get our proper respect. Let's go ahead and call you on the air with the community defender.
Yes, I totally agree. And I want to just say that, I worry about the children, the young girls that watch their auntie or their mom or the aunt, disrespect black men in the household and everywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
I worry about them because they pick up stuff, so quickly, and how they don't affect them when they grow up and have relationships and stuff.
They're gonna pick up the same, many of those habits. A lot of boys who grow up in a house where the father beats the mother grow up and beat their spouse. That trauma is very often passed on. And the reason that a lot of people don't really respect a man is because a lot of these sisters have never had a man in the household for more than a few months. There's a lot of trauma going on. So some of it is not their fault. Some of it is trauma. But even if you know the bad attitude you have is not your fault, you still have the responsibility to correct that attitude. And so I've always been a responsible person that paid bills in my household. I handled business always in my household. I've been that kind of man. I've been, and again, I'm a person that in my first marriage, I married a sister with 4 children, small children, and raised those children to adulthood and gave those children my last name and everything. In other words, again, those children have the same last name I got. They don't have the last name of their biological fathers, but they got my last name. That's something. So when I'm speaking from the perspective of a brother who has put in work on this thing called the black family. Period. My work speaks for itself. And it's not to say I'm everything, but I'm saying I'm a brother with some experience in all of those topics that Kevin was talking about, that Shahrazad Ali was talking about, and others. And the Honorable Louis Farrakhan has also brought it up and made predictions that you would see based upon this attitude and increase in lesbianism. And there's a whole thing in the Muslim girls training class called the Book of Femininity, teaching women how to be feminine again, because that hard edge, because these women have had to go out here alone, there's a hard edge to a lot of our sisters. That hard edge needs to be smoothed away. And they do need to be, many of them, not saying all, but many of them need to be more feminine. Many of our sisters need to understand that as men, we like you actually as you are. We would prefer that you don't have orange hair. I'm just going to put it out there. We would prefer that you don't have these long claw-looking things that you call nails protruding from your face. We would prefer you without all that paint on your face, because either you're pretty or you're not. You understand? And so let me put it to you like this. If something is perfect and you change it, it's no longer perfect. As you are perfect enough. You don't have to alter yourself with a tattoo on your face. You don't have to alter yourself with blue hair. You don't have to have 17 holes around you. That is not attractive, or it takes away from the attraction when you alter yourself with a lot of these tattoos, with a lot of this orange hair, orange, blue, purple, red. We like you as you are. Mature men like a black woman with natural hair and without all that makeup. You don't have to, you're not wearing that for us because we didn't have, I don't know one black man that said, you know, I really think you ought to get some purple hair. I think that'll make our marriage better. No, I think you probably need a Gucci purse. I think that'll make our marriage better. No, none of that has anything to do with anything. And so as a people, you need to know, and Brother Kevin Samuels talked about it, you need to know what men want. You really don't know. Because men, you really have not paid attention to what men actually want and how men think. And one of the things that when I was in sales, because I've sold life insurance, annuities, financial products, I've sold beverages, I've sold baked goods, I've sold a lot of stuff. And one thing that you got to do is you got to know when you're trying to sell something, you got to know what the person buying it, what their thought process is, whether or not they want what you got, or what's the reason that they're rejecting it. You got to get into the mind of the person that you're trying to sell it to. And likewise, if you're trying to mate with somebody, if you're trying to settle down with a black man, or a black man is trying to settle down with a black woman, we got to know what you think and what you need so that we can satisfy those needs. And I can tell you right now, orange hair is not one of those needs. Nails that are this long, look, that's not in the we don't need that. I can tell you that right now. So you can let all that go, save your money, exercise, weigh properly, and natural hair, no makeup. Either you're beautiful or you're not. And the majority of you are very beautiful. The majority of you have a natural beauty that God gave you, that a lot of that makeup and orange hair and those wigs, it covers up what God gave you naturally. And we just have to lay that out there. You don't need that. Not the black woman. The black woman really doesn't need makeup. Makeup was for the European. You already have melanin in your face. You already have a lot of collagen in your skin. Your skin is already beautiful anyway. Just stay like you are and stop getting caught up in a lot of the superficial traps of the enemy. Now, I want to mention this. We don't have time for that video with Vivica, right?
It's not playing.
Oh, okay. So our video is playing. I wanted to get into what Vivica said, and this vitriol against anybody that would have a difference of opinion, and how in the world can we be so hateful of one another if we have a difference of opinion? But we've had differences of opinion with white people, and we still have, many of us have our lips on their glutes to this very, very day. All right. So I wanted to probe into that, and maybe we'll do it at another time. But the bottom line of it is that these gender wars have to lead to gender cooperation. We have to cooperate one with the other. We have to work this thing out on truth. We have to deal with it from a truthful perspective. And the woman needs to be submissive to the man she's married to. She don't need to be a slave, but she needs to be cooperative and submissive. That's what's going to help the relationship to move forward and inspire that man to work harder for her and those children. And I can tell you right now, my wife inspires me to make more money. She inspires me to go out here and make it happen. I'm inspired when I see her, and when I'm around her, she is inspirational. And that's what every black woman is capable of being. We just have to tap into that, right? We in truth, because we have to have a truthful dialogue and discussion about these relationships, and then of course about the ultimate goal, which is a successful marriage. Are y'all with me? I hope you are. So anyway, I wanted to mention this before we get off. I don't know how long do we have.
2 minutes.
We have 2 minutes. I wanted to mention this to you. The Final Call newspaper. This right here is Europe will be a graveyard. This is a prediction by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. That's right here in the Final Call. I wanted to also mention to you this other issue. The power of Satan must be broken. And it goes into all the nations that are going to go to war one with the other, and how their power will be broken in war. And of course, there's an article by Minister Farrakhan which says, the title of it is, "The Satan Promises Only to Deceive." And that, of course, is from the Holy Quran. The devil promises only to deceive. And I wanted to play the clip of the Honorable Louis Farrakhan where he talked about all these high-level appointments, and how these high-level appointments of blacks to the press secretary, all these different, the Supreme Court, all of that was just deception to get you to buy into a system that is never going to work. All right. So that's pretty much all I have. May Allah bless each and every one of you. As your brother, greets you in peace. Assalamu alaikum, and we're going to see you next time. So we hit it just on time.
Yes, sir.
All right.
We cut the stream off right. This working excellent right here.
What, really?
Yeah, that's what Reverend Brown saw you.
Okay, that'll work. I'm gonna